Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a 5-day visit to Britain beginning Thursday with focus on ramping up trade and investment and deepening ties in defence, security and clean energy sectors.
At a time when we are seeking to attract capital and technology and best practices from abroad, the investment and economic aspects of this visit will be very important.
Stepping up cooperation with the United Kingdom in combating terror and extremism would be high on the agenda of the Prime Minister. Though the entire gamut of bilateral relations will be discussed during the visit of Prime Minister to the United Kingdom, but the key focus would be to take the economic relations and trade relations forward with a key focus on partnership in green energy technology to meet India's growing energy demand. The Prime Minister would be addressing the British Parliament, apart from having a lunch with Queen Elizabeth II at the Buckingham Palace. Later, he would address a reception at the Wembley Stadium in London, which is expected to be attended by around 60,000 people. The Prime Minister would also interact with CEOs at a roundtable in London. He would later visit Tata-owned Jaguar Land Rover factory at Solihull. On the 15th, the Prime Minister would be in Antalya in Turkey to participate in a meeting of heads of state and government of the G20 nations. At the G20, he would review the progress and decisions taken at the Brisbane G20 summit and take up issues of weak growth in global economy, climate change, terrorism and the refugee crisis.
Issues has to do with development and climate change. The second set of issues have to do with inclusive growth, within which we will discuss, the leaders would discuss global economy, growth strategies, employment and investment strategies. Then the third set of issues relates to enhancing resilience, within which the discussion will be on financial regulation, international tax, anti-corruption and IMF reform. And finally, there will be trade and energy. So it's fairly wide agenda. And then there is also one dinner session where terrorism and refugee crisis will be.
The Prime Minister would also hold a meeting with BRIC leaders on the sidelines of the G20 conference. The Prime Minister would make a strong pitch for reform of the IMF to play a meaningful part in revival of the global economy. He would also state India's position on climate change clearly ahead of the Paris Conference on Climate Change slated for later this month. With Sudhir Yadav, Amritpal Singh, DD News, New Delhi.